Hi, I'm Bill Kelly. Tonight on Land and Sea, the beginning of a two-part series that takes us from Newfoundland in the dead of winter to the tropics of Central America. We call our story Nicaragua and the Newfoundland Connection. Our first stop renews on the southern shore of the Avalon Peninsula. Like his pal Alf, Bernard Farrell has never been inclined to stray very far from home. Never much for travel or adventure, except through books and television, Bernard is what you'd call a true creature of habit, as regular as clockwork.
Mind tries to break her neck, Jim?
Every Sunday, for example, you'll find Bernard down at the wharf, checking his boat just before dinner, the same routine every week. But after today, Bernard's Sundays may never be the same again.
Bernard, what are you checking out your boat before you take off?
Yeah, having a last look at her. How it goes.
I guess try to get you a bulletproof vest now to go down to Nicaragua.
Bernard Farrell going to Nicaragua. It's totally out of character. No wonder his buddies are taken aback. Bernard and two other Newfoundlanders will be showing Nicaraguans how to fish mackerel with a cod trap, something never tried before.
Bernard, what type of boats do you use down there? I was reading in the paper, they say canoes, is it?
Yes, mostly dugout canoes they're using, yeah.
And how do you intend
Have to get a winch on that.
Small outboard motor.
How are they going to handle the trapping then?
We don't know really. One fellow talked about putting a sort of an outrigger, you know, rig the two boats together, making a sort of a catamaran out of them. And bring it out that way and set it off with another one, with a third boat to put it over, right, you know? That's what we were talking about anyway.
What's the depth of it anyway?
Oh, there's only a small trap, Charlie, compared to what we're used to. There's 6 fathoms deep and there's 48 fathom on the round, right? It's only a big dip net.
What's the same size of a captain trap here?
Yeah. Same thing, yeah.
So you know what accommodations you have down there? You sleep in a hut or
No,
a hotel or what?
It's sort of a motel, yes,
Yeah.
where we're going to stay, yeah.
But are you anyway nervous of going down in that area?
No, not really, no.
Back at the house, as she takes up Sunday dinner, Mrs. Farrell is naturally a bit apprehensive about the trip, but not overly worried.
He's not going in where the war is, I guess. Well, if he is, there's nothing he can do about it. Well, he's old enough to handle himself, I suppose. If not, he'll never do it now.
12 o'clock on the button. Bernard's back for dinner, famished as always, and ready to fist into his favorite grub job, a feed of corned beef and cabbage, a family tradition at the Farrells.
This is a bit of last dinner we'll have together for a while, guys, for a couple of months.
Yeah. I don't think we're not saying nothing. How do you feel about going down or what? It's usually a fighting time.
Grand. I'm delighted to go. So, no thing for me, I'll never...
I go eat all.
What kind of food are you going to eat down there?
Oh, I don't know.
You need more, you won't get my blueberry pudding.
Yes, Bernard, you can forget the blueberry pudding. From here on in, it'll be a steady diet of rice and beans, breakfast, dinner, and supper. Even Bernard's dog would soon turn up his nose at the likes of that.
Sit, right, pretty. Now say woof. Loud. Louder. Take a nice.
The Nicaraguan project is sponsored by Oxfam, and Bernard was asked to go because he's an expert at twine, a real wizard, one of the best on the island.
Well, I know a fair amount about twine, yeah. I started when I was only about 15 years old working with it. I can draw up a blueprint myself, or if I want doll for a trap or anything like that, you know. Twine is a bit complicated, right? Remembering numbers and so on like that. Like I can go make a trap now in probably 2 weeks, where it'll take some other, probably the best kind of twine man, 6 weeks to do what I'm doing too, because I know a lot of shortcuts.
But even a gifted twinesman must turn his hand to more mundane chores when he's leaving the family alone in the middle of the winter.
Nice bit of stuff to get straightened away, get ready for going. And put in a bit of wood and a truckload of peat, put it in there, and that's so they shouldn't get cold while I'm gone anyway.
St. John's International Airport. Bernard's a bit nervous, understandably so, especially when you consider he's flown just once in his life, and then only across the island. Still, this is a real adventure, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and Bernard is genuinely excited.
Hi, Bernard. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. I've got your ticket here.
On hand to see Bernard off is Bill Hine, the local Oxfam representative. Hind has been working on the trip for months, and everything's well in check.
Yeah, you can carry this and you can carry this one. Okay, so we're just going to put these ones through, and then you don't have to worry about them. Hi, Bernard. Good to see you.
Al, ready?
Got your ticket ready?
And that's Bernard Martin, an inshore fisherman from Petty Harbor. Martin's been down to Nicaragua before, twice in fact. He already knows what to expect, and he should be a big help to Farrell.
Okay. Yep. So you got your accordion and you ready to go? You got your money? Good. Okay. Well, I think we should get you down to the platform. You don't want to miss the plane.
See you later.
Bye.
Leaving home is never easy, but this kind of trip is especially hard on the families. They're left at home to worry while their men are down gallivanting around Central America. In this case, however, things should be a bit easier. Oxfam will be keeping track of the men and letting the families know of their whereabouts.
I'll see you again in 6 weeks. There you go. All right? You got all the emergency numbers, so if anything goes wrong, give us a call.
Listen, have a good trip. I'll give you a hug for your family that's not here.
At the other end of the province, a third Newfoundlander is getting ready to leave home too. Sam Caines is from Portland Creek on the Great Northern Peninsula. Sam will be joining the expedition in Deer Lake. All three men are seasoned fishermen, but nothing, not even a lifetime on the water, could have prepared them for war-torn Nicaragua. That story when we return. The jungles of Nicaragua, halfway around the world. Nicaraguans slaughtering each other in a savage civil war. More than 50,000 dead in 7 years of fighting between government troops and American-backed guerrillas. The crowded streets of Managua, the capital city, are a few hours' drive from the killing fields, but the devastating effects of the war are ever present. The broken-down cars symptomatic of a broken-down economy, a country in ruin. Most of these things are death traps. They'd be condemned in Newfoundland. But here in Nicaragua, new cars and spare parts are virtually impossible to come by. In Nicaragua, this is the way most people get around, hitching a ride on just about anything they can find. Around here, these people are considered privileged. At least they've got private transportation. You can't count on the public transportation system either. It's practically non-existent and getting worse by the day. Again, spare parts are the killer. If a bus breaks down here, it's usually out of commission for weeks, if not months. We could hardly believe our eyes when we came across this spectacle at the main bus station in Managua. Those people, if you can believe it, will be on that bus for the next 3 hours, traveling over a road that would make our worst ones look like superhighways. One of these roads winds its way down south through an endless string of shanty towns, each worse than the other. Indescribable squalor, an unbearable stench. This road will take us to the fishing village of El Astillero, the final destination of our 3 Newfoundlanders. On the surface, El Astillero is a veritable paradise. Beautiful sandy beaches, heavenly tropical breezes, and 105 degrees. But our Newfoundlanders are under no illusions. They know El Astillero is no paradise. Sam Caines will tell you it's more like hell on earth.
To think that we're, trying to help someone that's way worse off than what we was ourselves. We think we got it bad. We're always complaining back home, like, why is this and that bad and that's and something. But we're living in God's world compared to here.
The Newfoundlanders will be teaching these people, the fishermen of El Astillero, how to build a cod trap from scratch and how to set and haul it. Pretty basic stuff to us, but a real breakthrough for people who still fish out of old dugout canoes. People with neither the expertise nor the gear to pull themselves out of a vicious cycle of poverty. It was only a few years ago that these fishermen were introduced to the outboard motor and the gill net. Before that, all they used was an ordinary fishing pole. Even today, they have no wharves or stages or even splitting tables. They simply find the nearest rock and clean their fish in the steaming heat. These people see the Newfoundlanders as a godsend. They need help in the worst kind of way. They have a roof over their heads, but that's about it. No electricity, no running water, nothing. Here in El Astillero, they're a safe distance from the war. They've been spared the bullets, but not the suffering. This fisherman tells us that many young men from the community have had to go away to fight. Only a week ago, one of them was killed. He also says there are shortages of everything, even food. The economy is in tatters. The cod trap is simple enough if you know what you're doing, but when you're dealing with people who've never even seen one before, you've got to start with the basics. In this case, a cardboard mock-up.
Basically, it's just a square box made out of twine, made out of netting. It has a bottom in it, made out of twine. It has a doorway. It's sort of like a funnel-shaped entrance. And attached to that is this piece of netting here. That's called a leader. And the purpose of the leader is to act as a guide for the fish. When the fish hits the leader here, it's guided into the trap itself. The fish goes into the doorways here. And once it gets inside, it's pretty difficult for the fish to get out. So it just swims around inside until we're ready to haul it. Chimbumbas. Chimbumbas.
Language is a bit of a problem, but the Nicaraguans are very keen. They catch on very quickly.
¿Dónde están los pescados?
The Newfoundlanders are fast learners too. Si, senor?
I've learned a few words here and there. A few words and poquito de español, a little English, you know.
I can't talk much. I can't talk much language, Spanish language, but get along with talking, and you know.
It was really hard first, but now I'm starting to pick up a scattered word. No, it's not too bad.
The living quarters arranged for the Newfoundlanders are pretty basic, with none of the conveniences they'd have back home, except perhaps the purity biscuits and the carnation milk. But they're enjoying the people, and they're used to roughing it.
It's acceptable. Just like in the country. Yeah. Oh yeah, we have to put our mattresses back home, what this is, but not too bad. I got here a mattress. Well, there a mattress, but man, so it blows you up. I was expecting the worst, and I don't say it was quite as bad as I thought I myself made believe it was going to be. You know, that's what the. Well, I made up my mind that it was going to be a lot worse than what it was, so that way it wouldn't quite as bad as what I thought it was going to be. That's what.
Most things here in Nicaragua may not be quite as bad as the Newfoundlanders expected, but the economy is much worse than anyone could have anticipated. Everything here is in short supply, and a recent change in the currency has driven prices right through the roof. In Managua, it'll cost a foreigner $100 a day just to eat. Overnight, Nicaragua has gone from being the cheapest country in Latin America to one of the most expensive in the world.
Inflation is running, rampant. Inflation is just incredible down here. Last year in '87, it was like 1,000 or 1,200% inflation. The kinds of services that we're used to in Canada, good roads, electricity, running water, things like that. People here just don't have that, and they can never expect to have it until the war is over with, and the country can get on with providing those kinds of services to the people.
We come here, I thought the things was dirt cheap, and the money we brought with us, we figured we'd have plenty to do us for the 6 weeks. So when the money thing changed around there, You know, before that we could buy 4 beer for $1, or just a little more than $1. And now we got to pay $2.50 US for beer. So that's quite a bit of difference, you know. $2.50 for 1 beer, but we were getting 4 beer before that for $1. And everything else carried too, you know, like we went shopping there last Saturday, I guess it was. Trying to pick up a few gifts and souvenirs to take home, eh? And we take one of them hammocks. Last year there was 85,000 carried overs, which was about $35, $36 in American money. And a year they're 250,000. You know, so it's quite a bit of difference there. Around $250 US. And everything else, little jewelry things and things last year was $3 and $4 a year. It was $8, $9, which was just double what it was last year. So that kind of set us back a little bit. So we had to do less drinking. I had to give up smoking. I smoked as I give up after I come down. I cut down on drinking too. I used to have one if you want.
4 days after the Newfoundlanders arrive. The trap is coming along really well, and by now, the Nicaraguans are doing most of the work themselves. You wouldn't know, but they've been at twine all their lives. The Newfoundlanders aren't the least bit surprised, though. Bernard Farrell, the twine expert among the group, says he sensed right away that they'd take no time to learn the ropes.
Among fishermen, there's got to be good twinemen, right? If not, they wouldn't be fishermen. Yeah, out of every 10 fishermen, there's got to be a good twineman among them, eh? If not, it wouldn't work.
Bernard's been a bit down lately, a bad dose of the flu and a touch homesick, but he's just received a boost to his sagging spirits, a letter from his 8-year-old son Gus.
Hi Dad, I miss you very much. I pray that you get home soon and safe. I done good in my test, and George, Jan, Dan done good in their test too. We have lots of wood left. Me and Mom made a cake for George's birthday, and he liked it. We all miss you
very much. Is there any schools down there? Or what are the people like? Is there many fish? Are you and the people ready to go fishing?
The whole family said hi, and my classroom said hi too. All my love, Gus Farrell.
Bernard won't have time to return the letter, but oh, what stories he'll have for young Gus when he gets home. Stories about the big fish that didn't get away. Big man-eating sharks, tiger sharks and hammerheads. Ferocious beasts capable of mangling a full-grown man in a matter of seconds. Local fishermen find the sharks tangled up in their gill nets. The sharks cause a lot of damage to the nets, but they're well worth the aggravation. Sharks are considered a real delicacy in these parts, and they fetch a real good price. Day 6. The experiment is definitely working. The Nicaraguans are amazed with themselves, and the Oxfam official overseeing the project couldn't be more pleased. Mark Land says the project is tailor-made to Oxfam's pragmatic approach to third world development.
Well, the fisheries program is quite a unique experience for us, and a very positive one, because we have Canadian fishermen who are coming down here to Nicaragua and are working directly with Nicaraguan fishermen. And together they're identifying projects that they think can work. They're not going to do anything extravagant, because fishermen have to work, you know, with the resources they have at hand, limited budgets. So they're not going to waste a lot of money, and they're going to try things that work. And a good example of that is the fish trap. it's not a big leap in technology for the Nicaraguan fishermen. It's basically twine and rope and anchors and, you know, lead, and they've got all those things down here. They just never put them together like a trap. And so it's a very creative process. You have Newfoundland fishermen that have been working with, you know, traps for over 100 years now. We're able to come down here to Nicaragua, see the fishing conditions here, and suggest that as a means to help the Nicaraguan fishery. And Oxfam has been able to facilitate that and provide the resources for it. But the basis of the program is the participation of the fishermen themselves, Canadian and Nicaraguan fishermen. Oxfam chose this community, El Astillero, which is in the southern part of Nicaragua, because of the organization of the fishermen. There are 2 co-ops here that have been organized for 8 years, and they're the type of organization that we like to work with, as fishermen working together in a collective fashion. I mean, otherwise it'd be impossible. We couldn't work with individual fishermen, but here because it'd be so difficult to get them together and stuff. But here we have, you know, 2 groups of, one co-op has got 12 fishermen, the other, I believe, 13. They fish 4 boats each, and they pool the catch. They pool the resources from the catch. If one fisherman is sick for, you know, for a few days, then his income doesn't suffer. He gets a share just like all the rest. And so it's that level of organization that interested us in this community. Well, I think the Newfoundland fishermen have done really well down here. Of course, I expected things to go really well. The fishermen have never complained, you know. I mean, they're used to difficult conditions back home. You're out on your boat, and it's cramped conditions. You're dirty at times, you know. You got the smell of bait and stuff, and you're cooking your food. And what I found is fishermen don't complain. And they've been a great bunch of guys, and they've done excellent work, and I think on both sides. And there's really been a profound respect, I think, that's developed. Nicaraguans towards Canadian fishermen, and I think Canadian fishermen towards the Nicaraguan fishermen.
After I got here, well, I got really taken up with the people. The people were really nice. And thanks to the world of us, we Canadians, people down where we fish too. We find all the people there nice and get along good with them.
It's hard to imagine how the project could possibly be going any better at this point. The Newfoundlanders are getting on famously with the Nicaraguan fishermen, and the trap is nearly ready. There's every reason for optimism. But the critical test is still to come. Will the trap work? Can it be adapted to the Nicaraguan mackerel fishery? We'll have the answers next week in part 2 of Nicaragua and the Newfoundland Connection. You'll be there as our Newfoundland fishermen put it all on the line, dangling from the sides of those old dugout canoes in the choppy waters off El Astillero.
With them little dugouts and that, well, it don't take much when you know, when you get off there half a mile or so, you start wondering, you know, you're going to get back or not.
You'll all be invited to a unique farewell party, a Nicaraguan party with a distinctively Newfoundland flavor. And you'll see for yourselves how well the Nicaraguans make out during a return trip to Newfoundland.
He finds it a little bit cold this morning.
All this next week on Nicaragua and the Newfoundland Connection, Part 2. Good night, everyone.
Chimbombas.